Here is Clark off the screen, launches, and drops a triple. But these Mercury gold medalists.
The applause thundered through the arena as Caitlin Clark stepped onto the court. At just 22 years old, she was already a transformative figure in the WNBA, and her return to action after the Olympic break was nothing short of historic. Facing off against the legendary Diana Taurasi and the Phoenix Mercury, Clark didn't just play a game, she rewrote the history books. In a performance that will be talked about for years, she put up an astonishing 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds in a game that didn't just tilt the Rookie of the Year race in her favor, it changed the entire playoff landscape. But this game was about so much more than just numbers. It was about proving that Caitlin Clark is not just another rookie, she's a force to be reckoned with, a player who is already reshaping the WNBA's future. This wasn't just another game on the WNBA schedule, it was a battle of titans. On one side, you had Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who had been revolutionizing women's basketball from her college days to her first professional season. On the other, Diana Taurasi, the living legend, an icon whose name is synonymous with greatness in the sport. The stakes couldn't have been higher. The Indiana Fever, desperate for a playoff spot, needed this win to keep their hopes alive, while Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury were fighting to maintain their position in the standings. Every game at this point in the season is crucial, but this one had the potential to alter the course of both teams' futures. The hype surrounding this matchup was unprecedented. Fans and analysts alike were buzzing with anticipation. The return of the WNBA after the Olympic break had already generated excitement, but the prospect of watching Clark and Taurasi go head-to-head took it to another level. This wasn't just a game, it was a clash of eras, a showdown between the past and the future of women's basketball. And then there was the Rookie of the Year race. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese had been neck and neck all season, with every game under intense scrutiny. Every point, every assist, every rebound was analyzed and compared. Clark knew that a standout performance against Taurasi could be the difference maker in the race for the award. The stage was set, the expectations were sky high, and everyone knew that something special was about to unfold. But no one could have predicted just how extraordinary this game would be. From the opening tip-off, it was clear that the Indiana Fever had come to make a statement. They stormed out of the gate, dominating the Phoenix Mercury in a way that left the home crowd stunned. By the end of the first quarter, the Fever had opened up a commanding 3-3-1-6 lead. Caitlin Clark was unstoppable, finishing the first period with an impressive 16 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. It wasn't just her individual brilliance that was on display, though her chemistry with teammate Kelsey Mitchell was electric. The two seemed to have an almost telepathic connection, finding each other on the court with ease, as if they had been playing together for years. The second quarter only reinforced the Fever's dominance. At one point, they extended their lead to a staggering 28 points, leaving the Mercury reeling. The Fever's defense was suffocating, their offense was fluid, and it looked like they were running a shooting drill, not playing against one of the most storied franchises in the WNBA. Diana Taurasi, the epitome of poise and control, was visibly frustrated. She had no answers for the Fever's relentless attack, and by halftime, the score was a convincing 5-4-3-7 in favor of Indiana. Coach Christy Sides seemed to have found the perfect formula. Her game plan was working flawlessly, with Clark orchestrating the offense and the defense locking down the Mercury's biggest threats. At that moment, it appeared that the Fever were on their way to a dominant victory, a win that would send shockwaves through the league. But as anyone who has watched basketball knows, no lead is ever truly safe. The game of basketball is one of runs, and what happened in the second half would catch everyone by surprise. The third quarter began, and it was as if a different Phoenix Mercury team had taken the court. They started to chip away at the Fever's lead, slowly but surely closing the gap. The comfortable 17-point advantage that Indiana had built began to melt away, disappearing like ice in the Arizona sun. Suddenly, the Fever found themselves in a fight for survival. The defense that had been so impenetrable in the first half now had gaping holes. The fluid offense that had been so effective devolved into a series of lost possessions and forced shots. The Mercury won the third quarter 2-8-9, cutting the lead to just 8 points. The pressure was mounting, and the tension on the Fever's bench was palpable. Kelsey Mitchell, usually the picture of composure, was involved in a heated exchange, showing just how much the momentum shift had rattled the team. Coach Sides tried everything in her arsenal: timeouts, rotation changes, defensive adjustments, but nothing seemed to work. The game was slipping away, and the specter of a humiliating defeat after such a promising start loomed large. This was the moment when Christy Sides' experience as a coach would be put to the ultimate test. How would she regroup her team? How would she contain the Mercury's furious comeback, led by the indomitable Diana Taurasi? And most importantly, how would she deploy her two biggest weapons, Clark and Mitchell, to secure the win? As the fourth quarter approached, it was clear that this game would be decided in the final minutes. Every possession, every decision would be crucial. The outcome of the game and potentially the Fever's entire season hung in the balance. But just when it seemed like the momentum was entirely in the Mercury's favor, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell decided to remind everyone why they are considered one of the most dangerous duos in the WNBA. In the fourth quarter, Clark and Mitchell took over. Clark, showing a maturity far beyond her years, began to dictate the pace of the game. She alternated between dishing out precise assists and hitting clutch shots that drove the crowd wild. But it was Kelsey Mitchell who truly stole the show in the final period. She caught fire, hitting two crucial three-pointers that turned the tide back in the Fever's favor. The chemistry between Clark and Mitchell was on full display. When the Mercury focused their defense on stopping Clark, Mitchell found herself open for the shot. When they doubled Mitchell, Clark seized the opportunity to create plays. It was a masterclass in teamwork, and it was clear that this was not just the Caitlin Clark show. The combination of Clark and Mitchell made the Fever a nightmare to defend. In the end, the Fever held on for a 9-8-8-9 victory, but the final score doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't capture the nail-biting tension, the dramatic shifts in momentum, or the fact that the Mercury came dangerously close to completing one of the greatest comebacks in WNBA history. What it does show, however, is that when the pressure is highest, when the game is on the line, Clark and Mitchell are more than capable of rising to the occasion. This victory wasn't just another game in the regular season. It was a defining moment, one that could very well determine the fate of the Fever season. With this win, the Fever took a giant step towards securing a playoff spot, something that few believed was possible at the start of the season. The Fever now sit at 12-15, holding the 7th position in the standings with only a few games left. Every win from here on out is crucial, and beating a direct competitor like the Mercury is even more valuable. For Caitlin Clark, this game was about more than just winning. It was about solidifying her status as one of the most impactful players in the league. She's not just putting up impressive statistics, she's carrying her team to the playoffs in her rookie season. That's something you rarely see, and it's a testament to her incredible talent and determination. But while this game showcased the Fever's potential, it also exposed some glaring weaknesses that could spell trouble in the playoffs. The most obvious issue was the second-half collapse. Allowing a 28-point lead to nearly disappear raises serious concerns about the team's ability to maintain focus and intensity for a full 40 minutes. Coach Christy Sides will need to address this if the Fever hope to make a deep playoff run. Complacency can be deadly in the postseason, where every possession counts and the pressure is magnified. Another area of concern is the Fever's over-reliance on Clark and Mitchell. While it's incredible to have two such talented players leading the way, a playoff team needs contributions from the entire roster. The Fever must develop secondary and tertiary scoring options to relieve some of the pressure on their star duo. Players like Aaliyah Boston have shown flashes of brilliance, but they will need to step up consistently if the Fever are to succeed in the playoffs. Additionally, Coach Sides' rotation management and in-game decision-making will be critical. There were moments in this game where it felt like she was reacting to the Mercury's moves rather than dictating the action. In tight playoff games, Every decision can be the difference between victory and defeat. Sides will need to be at the top of her game if the Fever are to navigate the challenges ahead. Despite these challenges, the future looks incredibly bright for the Fever. With Caitlin Clark as the centerpiece, a promising young core, and the prospect of a playoff berth, the Fever are in an enviable position. If they can address their weaknesses and continue to build on their strengths, there's no telling how far this team can go. And then there's the matter of the Rookie of the Year race. While the battle between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese has been close all season, Clark's performance in this game may have tipped the scales decisively in her favor. Let's look at the facts. Clark finished the game with 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds, a historic performance for any player, let alone a rookie. She became the first rookie in WNBA history to record multiple games with at least 25 points and 10 assists. Compare that to Angel Reese's recent performance against the same Phoenix Mercury team, where Reese and her Chicago Sky were convincingly defeated, and Reese struggled to make a significant impact. It's not just about the numbers, although Clark's numbers are undeniably impressive. It's about her impact on the game, her ability to lead her team to victory in high-pressure moments, and her versatility as a player. Clark isn't just a prolific scorer, she's an elite point guard capable of creating opportunities for her teammates while keeping opposing defenses on constant alert with her shooting ability. At this point, it's hard to argue against Clark as the clear favorite for Rookie of the Year. Of course, the season isn't over yet, and Angel Reese will undoubtedly have more opportunities to impress. But based on what we've seen so far, Caitlin Clark has set herself apart. She's not just redefining what it means to be a rookie in the WNBA, she's redefining the expectations for what a rookie can achieve. However, as thrilling as this victory was, it also served as a reminder that the Fever are still a work in progress. The team's ability to handle adversity, maintain composure under pressure, and develop a more balanced attack will be crucial as they head into the playoffs. The road ahead is long and filled with challenges, but with Caitlin Clark leading the way, the Fever have every reason to be optimistic. What did you think of this game? Is Caitlin Clark already a lock for Rookie of the Year, or does Angel Reese still have a chance to make a comeback? And what about the Indiana Fever? Do they have what it takes to make a deep run in the playoffs, or will the issues we saw in the second half ultimately be their downfall? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing your analyses and responding whenever I can. Your insights always bring new perspectives that I might not have considered. If you enjoyed this analysis and want to stay up to date on everything happening in the WNBA, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any of our videos about the biggest stars in women's basketball. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.